Hi, how you doing, and welcome back to the video on the channel. What we have for you today is our preview video going into Game Week 22, how my team did in that extra long Game Week 21, and my thoughts moving forward regarding transfers and team selections. If you are new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. The support on the most recent video was awesome, to be honest. If you haven't seen it, it was a 100% rated wildcard team, which could help you out with your own team and transfers and team selection moving forward. So the link to that will be at the end of the video or in the description. So hopefully we can keep that support going into this video and onwards. So let's take a look at the team, and to be honest, from a defensive point of view, it was awesome. Like, all my defenders had either an attacking return or a clean sheet or both. And normally this season, it's the defence that have been letting the team down. Clean sheets have been really hard to come by with all the extra added time and late goals that have been going on in the Premier League. But this week, it was kind of the opposite. You know, Gabriel got a goal and an assist and a clean sheet, which was just absolutely awesome. You would never expect that from a defender, and it's such a big swing in points compared to if you own someone like Saliba. So got very lucky with that as well. But the midfield and attack was kind of the opposite, to be honest. Like, we had Palmer, who got 10 points, but that was in the very first game of the game week, so it feels like it was about a month ago from this point. I did have a bit of an issue with the captaincy as well. Did vice-captain Watkins, who got 1 point very early on in the game week, and I captained Jared Bowen, who was flagged, but I thought, you know, if he doesn't play, then I'll get Watkins points, but that extra game week for rest will help him out, and then he'll be playing Sheffield United and he has a good chance of points. In the meantime, Gordon did get an attacking return against Man City, so I was kind of thinking if Bowen didn't play, then I'd get Gordon's points. If Bowen did play, then he's playing Sheffield United. The worst case scenario would have been that he came on as a sub. That didn't happen. He did start, but he did only get 2 points anyway. So that wasn't, you know, could have been better. Every few points counts. Might not seem like a lot, but really, you know, it could have really boosted me up a couple of thousand more places. And I know that because during the game week, at one point, I was in like the top 25k. And although it doesn't really count because the game week's not over and players play at different times, it does go to show how close and small the spread is of FPL players, especially this sort of rank. But I am still top 50k, which I'm absolutely buzzing about. Hopefully we can keep that rank going into this game week. So let's take a look at the fixtures for game week 22, and it's a midweek game. So I think it's really important to note that so you don't miss any deadlines. And these midweek games, they can sort of catch you out a little bit because you're not too sure of what's happening when, and some of the games might finish a bit late, so you don't kind of see the end of them or hear about how they've done. And so in terms of captaincy, I think you kind of just have to look at Man City. If Haaland is back fit, then you captain him. Maybe you want to captain De Bruyne as well, but I think even if you don't want to take a risk on them, someone like Alvarez or Foden are pretty obvious captains, really. And I think the main reason for that is that a lot of the big teams kind of have tough fixtures this game week. You've got Man United away at Wolves, Liverpool are hosting Chelsea, you've also got Aston Villa versus Newcastle, and I would say for Arsenal, Nottingham Forest away isn't that easy either. Even Spurs at home to Brentford, you don't really know what you're going to get from both teams at the moment. And with no Son, you know, would you want to captain someone like Richarlison? Sure, you might have him in your squad, but captaincy over a Man City player at home to Burnley. So I think you maybe just take your chances with Man City players there. I'll be doing that, and I don't really see any other viable options. Maybe you might want to do Bowen at home to Bournemouth, but Bowen's not been in the best form recently either, and Bournemouth are either hit and miss. They're either winning 3-0 or losing 4-0, so you're never too sure what Bournemouth team are going to turn up. So my team for Game Week 22 is looking okay, to be honest. I'm quite happy with it. I do actually have one free transfer and about 13 or 14 million in the bank, but I don't really think I need to use the transfer. You might say, you know, you could upgrade the goalkeeper, but I'm not that fussed. You know, if Onana's not back from international duty, Turner can come in and hopefully get 1 or 2 points. But I think if I had 2 free transfers, I'd maybe have more of a case to making a goalkeeper transfer. But I just think Son and Salah are yet to come back from international duty. You know, everyone's keeping an eye on De Bruyne as well. It's kind of handy to have 1, 2 free transfers in the bank ready to go, and maybe a couple of transfers planned in for when these players come back. I think other than that, the team is looking good. Like Villa after Newcastle, they've got Sheffield United, Man United, Fulham, Forest and Luton in the next 5, and it's kind of the same for Newcastle. They've got Luton, Forest, Bournemouth, Arsenal, Wolves in the next 5 after Villa, so all those players I'm happy with. I think even with West Ham and Jared Bowen not being on 100% form. They've got Man United and Arsenal, but do have a decent run up to game week 29. And earlier in the season, Jared Bowen did score against Man United and Liverpool, so he has shown that he can do it against other teams. And as a midfielder playing as a striker, he's just a really good option to have. Something that we did talk about in the wildcard video and is worth noting are the blank and double game weeks coming up. So Chelsea do have a blank coming up and Man City do have a double coming up, both of which will affect my teams. I think having a double Man City players for that double game week is fantastic. Whether they're the same two Man City players by the time that game week comes around, we have to wait and see. If Haaland's back, then I'll swap him in for Alvarez. I think really the Colwill-Palmer situation is something that's, more of not an issue, but I'm not necessarily looking at transferring them out because I could still get, 10, 11 players without making a transfer who are playing in that game week, and that game week is still a couple of fixtures away, so hopefully my team might sort itself out a bit by then as well, and we'll have a bit of a clearer picture. So let me know what you think in the comments. Should I use my transfer on anyone, and if so, who? Have you got any questions about your team? How's your game week 21 gone? And what are you thinking for the rest of the season from game week 22 onwards? Like I said, check out the wildcard video as well. Link should be on the screen now. And thank you very much for listening. I will see you in the next one.